Hi everyone, it's been a while and I'm wishing you guys a happy Mid-Autumn Festival. Today I'm going to show you how to make my Mid-Autumn nail design, which is based on a 3D goldfish and also a 3D bunny that is carrying a little mooncake. So let's get started. I've already prepped the nails and they're on my nail tip holders, which are made by Minute Nails. I'll link them below in the description. For this set, I'm going to use these 3 colors for the base colors of all of the nails. And a couple of the nails will be a multicolored ombre and some will be a 2-colored ombre. So I love using the syrup gel to create multicolored ombres because they blend so well together. I start by dabbing a bit of each color onto the nail in different spots. And then I'm going to use a liner brush and I'm just kind of blending the colors into each other and making sure that the nail is also fully covered in gel. As I'm blending, you'll see that the colors actually blend so effortlessly together and there's no harsh lines. Sometimes as you are blending, a lot of gel polish will get caught on your brush, and if you need to, you can just wipe it off on a lint pad, just like the blue one I have on the side. But just take your time and be patient with it. All the colors will blend together very effortlessly. And as you can see, some of the polish has pooled around the edges of the nail, so I'm just placing it upside down so some of that polish will move back towards the center. And then I'm going to cure it under my light. And now I'm going to do a second coat. This time I'm going to brush on a thinner layer, the same-ish areas where I had dropped each color. You can see that it's already pretty well blended. And again, I'm going to use my liner brush to just help it blend that second layer a little bit more. And ta-da, that's basically it. Now you have a multicolored ombre nail. Very easy. And so for some of the other nails, to do a 2-toned ombre, I do the same method, but then I'm just brushing 2 colors on at first, and then using my liner brush again to blend them together. Using syrup gels for ombre effects is my favorite because it can just be so effortless and it's kind of therapeutic feeling to see all the colors blend easily together. And this is how the base colors look all together. Okay, now we're going to get started on the Goldfish 3D nail. So please excuse my brush, which is all wonky. Because of the gold flakes that are infused inside the gel, it doesn't go into the bottle perfectly, and so the bristles have gone kind of wonky. However, it's still very usable and totally fine for applying. And this is actually a very convenient polish to use for applying gold flakes. And so I'm going to cure this layer as well. And then we're going to get started on molding this goldfish. And I'm going to use 2 kinds of 3D gel. One of them, Milk Jam, it has a white color, and the other one is a clear. So Yoko Milk Jam, I use it for a lot of my 3D nail art. It's just so easy to use, and I love that it has a white base. And Yoko 3D Clear is by the same brand, and it's the same consistency, but in clear. So I'm going to take a bit of orange and mix it together with the white to create the color of the goldfish. I like to use a painting gel because you don't need to add too much gel polish and it'll give you the colors you need. If you use a regular polish, just be careful because it's not as opaque, so you might need more of the gel color and that will kind of affect the consistency of the 3D clay. It might make it a bit too wet and too sticky. So once I mix my color, I'm just putting it onto the nail in a round ball, and then I'm going to use a silicone tool to kind of shape it into a triangle, kind of like a bubbly triangular shape, which will be the body for my goldfish. Next, I'm going to take some reddish translucent gel that has the consistency of like a builder gel. You could probably use a builder gel and mix in some red or orangey red to create the same effect. But basically I can create 2 little blobs of red to create the eye bag look for my goldfish. And those are the little eye bags. And now I'm using some of the clear gel to create the tail and the fins. And I basically just put some onto the nail, and I'm using my silicone tool to sort of press lines into the gel to create a triangular shape with kind of like little ripples so that it looks like a tail. And here I'm also doing the same thing for the fins. You want it to be more narrow towards the body and then have it kind of fan outwards. It's a bit hard to see. And I'm also going to push some of that 3D gel towards the top of the goldfish. And once you're happy with the shape, I am going to take some elegant gold chrome powder. And this is like a shimmery gold that you can see in certain light. And I'm just brushing that or rubbing that into the 3D gel. And you can kind of start to see a little bit how the gold is shining onto the lines that you created by pushing the silicone tool into the clay. Next, I'm going to paint on the eyes. And a little smile. So here, because I decided that the contrast between the clear fins and the body was a bit too big, I'm taking a bit of an orange color and I'm just going to paint in the part of the fin that's closer to the body, just so that there isn't such a big contrast between the triangular body shape and then the fins. And so this will make the fins look like it's more attached onto the goldfish body. And so I'm basically just adding little bits of color to the fins. And this is the finished product. You can see how pretty that gold shimmer is. And we're done. Now onto the second nail. We're going to do, because it's mid-autumn themed, I'm going to paint a moon. And then also a star at the bottom of the nail. Next, I'm going to cover it with a no white top coat and then cure this nail. And basically I'm preparing it to add this chrome powder on top. And this is the same elegant gold powder I used for the goldfish. And touched off any excess. And then now I'm going to use my Jinbei Crazy Top gel, which is one of my favorite gels for creating 3D art. It has a thick consistency and it is also no white. It's really great for adhering things like gems and stones, but it's also really good at creating these 3D clear, kind of like blobby, swirly shapes. And here I'm just creating some swirly designs. And I do like to cure these kind of in between each one because the gel does slowly kind of expand a little. And so if you really want it to keep the shape that it's in, you can make sure to flash cure it. And there it is, and it is a no wipe. So once it's cured, I'm using a wet lint wipe just with water, and I'm going to wipe off all the excess chrome powder. And what this does is I get my original base color back, but now the chrome is trapped under those swirlies. And that really creates a nice effect where the chrome is only where the swirls are, which I really like. And so that's the design for the index and pinky nail. Now I'm moving on to the middle nail. First I'm adding some fine glitter just to add some more sparkle onto this design. And I'm using a painting gel to paint a goldfish. Now I'm going to use some crazy top gel again, and I'm using it to create a little plastic bag. And this is kind of like reminiscent of those Asian night markets where you can fish for goldfish and they'll put them into little plastic bags for you. And so once I've created the shape of the bag, I'm using some chrome powder to dust it on top. And so far it's just kind of like an elevated shiny layer, and I'm actually going to go over it again with some more of the gel, and this time I'm going to use it to kind of define the bag a bit more and draw little lines. For example, at the top here it's kind of like the scrunched up part at the top of a plastic bag, and so I'm just going to do a few brush strokes. And then for the bottom, I'm also going to outline the shape of the plastic bag. And there you go. It's a little goldfish in a plastic bag. And now onto the last design for this hand. I'm going to paint a tiny goldfish. And you can't forget the little tail and also its little fins. Now we have a chubby little goldfish, and I'll add some eyes and a teeny tiny smile. And next I would top coat this layer first, and then do this one here where I'm using some of the crazy top gel, and I'm going to create a little bubble on top of the goldfish. And that's because I want this design to look as if the goldfish is trapped in a little water bubble. And then I'm going to use a bit of chrome powder again, and I'm just going to apply it to some of the flat surfaces on the nail where there's no bubbles. And then I'm going to add some bubbles on top of the chrome powder. And this is kind of like doing the same thing as the swirly effect earlier. I'm just adding some chrome powder which I'll trap underneath these bubbles, and so that later on these bubbles will have some extra chrome shine to them. And so again I'm using a wet wipe to wipe off the excess chrome. And so now there's only chrome underneath the bubbles. And that's it for our goldfish design. And ta-da! Here's how they all look together. I really love how the chrome shines through. Okay, now we're going to sculpt the 3D bunny. I'm using the Milk Jam 3D clay again, and it's already the perfect white color, so I don't need to do any mixing this time. First I'm adding a oval shape, which is for the head. Then I'm going to add a bigger blob, which is going to be for the body. And I'm using a silicone tool to kind of blend the two together and shape them the way I want. So the body will be a bit bigger and more kind of circular and long. And next we're going to add two more oval shapes to the side of the head. And then you're going to blend it so that the top of the shape is a bit more narrow. And that's because it's going to be the bunny's ears drooping down. And I'm also adding a little flower to the top, and then using small circles to create the feet, the tail, and also 2 little paws in the front. And that is the bunny. So next I'm going to sculpt the mooncake, and I'm using some of the clear 3D gel, and I'm just shaping it on my palette so that it's in the shape of a triangle. So it's going to be like a slice of a mooncake. And next I'm just using some painting gel to paint in the colors. So I'm using a yellow at first to do the yolk. And then I'm leaving a little tiny bit of a clear space because a lot of mooncakes kind of have that grayish, kind of translucent color in between. And then I'm using some brown to kind of put in some detail on the edges. And so there is my cured little triangular piece of mooncake. And because I actually couldn't place this anywhere around the bunny, I ended up removing the flower on the top and putting the mooncake there instead. And then I moved the flower and put it on the side. I think this looks a lot cuter. And now of course we need to give him a little face and a little smile. And I'm also gonna add some blush. And there we go, that is our little 3D bunny that is carrying a mooncake. For the next middle nail design, I'm doing something similar as the goldfish side. I'm going to paint a large bunny. And right here I'm using the Dino Gel painting pots. I really like how they are so good with filling in color. Whenever I fill in color, it always blends out very evenly, versus some other painting gels I use are a bit thicker and stickier and they won't be as effective when covering larger spaces. But this one works really well. It's also no white too. And we're going to add the eyes and a smile and some blush as well. And of course we're not going to do the same plastic peg design as with the goldfish. Instead I have actually put a layer of matte top coat first, and then I'm using a no white black to paint on these clouds. And the no white black will let me apply chrome powder on top. And this is just some gold chrome powder. And so I'll have some outlined gold clouds. And then I'll add some top coat to finish off this nail. And for the final nail of the bunny design, it will be matching with the goldfish one. And so I've gone ahead and painted a tiny bunny head. And then just like the goldfish design, I'm going to use the Jinbei Crazy top coat to encapsulate it under a water bubble. And again, I'm going to add some chrome powder to the other side. And then put more bubbles in. And again, we'll wipe off the excess chrome. And these are the finished nails. I really love how the chrome powders are not too excessive and they're just kind of like highlighted under the 3D design. It adds a really nice shimmery touch. But of course my favorite of all is the 2 3D nails, the goldfish and also the bunny. I really hope you guys enjoyed this nail tutorial. Let me know what you think in the comments. I hope that you guys have a wonderful Mid-Autumn Festival, and I'll see you guys next time.